So let's get started and understand what is OData first of all, and why it came into picture. So what is OData? So OData stands for Open Data Protocol, originally developed by Oasis. There was a company called Oasis who came up with this OData protocol to exchange the data over internet using HTTP or HTTPS protocol. It is a kind of web service which we can use to consume our SAP server data, web applications. OData later acquired by Microsoft and became an open source, which means anybody can adopt this protocol, use this protocol to design and develop applications. That is what OData was originally developed and was kind of being used. So this is how the concept of OData came into the picture from the beginning. Microsoft made it open source, and since open source, any company can adopt it. So is the SAP. SAP also adopted the OData protocol. Now, OData protocol, it is used for stateless communication. What do we mean by stateful and stateless communication? Let's try and understand. So whenever you work with SAP, SAP often work with the stateful communication. Let me give an example. So in SAP, you have the GUI, which is your presentation layer. You have the SAP application server, which is your middleware, and you have the database where all the data is stored. Absolutely. So whenever you connect from GUI to application server, a session gets created in the background. So every user who connect, a session gets created. This session consumes some memory of the server, and this is the reason if a user leave the session open and don't do any activity for 60 minutes, SAP will cancel or terminate this session automatically to free this memory. This is called stateful communication. Now what happens due to stateful communication? It piles up lot of sessions and consume lot of application server memory, which limits the number of requests we can serve in a given period of time. Yes, because let's say this memory is 100 GB. One session takes, let's say, 500 megabyte. So maximum you can run 20 sessions only. That's why in SAP there is a limit. You can open 8 session per user, right? I'm just giving an example. So this is called stateful communication. A stateful communication is expensive. Yes, it is basically it is limited by the memory which server offer. However, the experience is very good. Yes, because we know in the server who is the user connected to us all the time. The user don't need to authenticate themselves again and again and again. That is why it's called stateful communication. Now, look at if I want to build a mobile app or a Fury app, user can open infinite number of browser sessions, right? When user run our Fury app in the browser, I can go to the browser and I can open many tabs. I can open one more, yeah, one more, one more. There's no limit here for sessions in the browser when you run Fury app. So the stateful communication is not suitable for this kind of a communication. What we want is stateless communication. So here you have your browser running either in a mobile phone, tablet, or anywhere. Then from there, the call comes to my SAP server now. And then of course there is a database. Now what I don't want to have stateful communication for Fury app because there is no limit of sessions. If every session opens a session in the server, what will happen? My server will crash. It won't have that much of memory because user can open millions of browser session and every user can do that. So I cannot go with the stateful communication. So in this case, we go stateless communication. So a request will come from browser, it will get processed here, and a response will go back from the browser. So this is called request response architecture. Yeah, request response architecture. A request will come and a response will go out. Request response, request response, request response, request response. This is called request response architecture or stateless communication. Stateless communication, request response architecture or stateless communication. That is what this OData is all about. That's what called OData communication, OData protocol. Beautiful. So now you understood why we use stateless communication. To achieve stateless communication, we have OData protocol given by Microsoft. SAP adopted it. OData is not SAP proprietary. It is by Microsoft. Any company can use it. It's open source. SAP also adopted OData protocol. So this communication happens via OData protocol. OData service actually. So we will have to create a OData service. But the doubt comes, Anubhav, how does an OData service look like? What are the different components of an OData service? I have never ever seen any OData service in my career. Can I look at that? So the answer is yes. Let us go and try and understand how an OData service look like. What are the different components of an OData service to expose the data? Now imagine you have lots of data spread across multiple database table in your server. Like let's say you have products data, material master, Mara data, right? Then you have products have the product text data, which tells you what are the name of the product in different languages in a text table. Then you have sales order data, header data. Then you have sales order items data. Sales order items data have relationship with product. Like one item can have one product. Then you have company, my business partner or customer data who bought the sales order from you that associates with sales order header. So all of this data is part of your table. So what OData says, every table here, I will mark it as an entity. Yeah. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables. 5 tables equal to 5 entities. Fair enough? 5 entities to expose my data. Then every relationship between entity, yes, this foreign key relationship is called the join which you have is called association. Association. So this is how we are going to design and develop our table data model and table design model that we are going to do actually. So now what I'm going to do as a next step, I will proceed further and I will utilize this concept to show you a simple OData given by Microsoft. So if I want to read more about OData, what is the best place to do that? Because it's an open source, anybody can adapt, anybody can read. So there is a documentation given by Microsoft, odata.org. That's a Microsoft's official page for learning and studying OData basics. Go to advanced, proceed to unsafe, and that will open OData best way to rest. Rest means representational state transfer. Basically, it's a stateless communication, it is telling you. So here you can read more about OData starting for developer getting started. Then you can read basic tutorial, advanced tutorial. Yes, for absolute beginner, understand OData in 6 steps. So everything they will explain you here is step by step. Yeah. All right. Now OData has different versions. The current version which we use mostly in SAP is version 2, but the OData latest version is called version 4 in the market. So in SAP, we can use OData version 4 also and OData version 2 also. Both of it we can actually use in SAP. Fair enough. Now, my next step will be to proceed further and be able to refer to all the components now. So let's understand the basics of OData by looking at a standard OData service provided by Microsoft. So Microsoft provides something called services.odata.org. There you can experience free OData service. To learn OData service from scratch, you can do that. So here there are couple of services where you can read write also, you can read only. Yeah, so maybe let me open this service, which is a read only service. I will also do one thing, press F12 key on my keyboard and go to network tab. So whenever a call is made to a OData service, you can always see that in the network call. So I click and you see the call is going to the service, you see. And when you come back, you see the response header and it will tell you the version of OData. You see data service version is 1.0. Yeah, it's 1.0 and you can see the response also here. This is the response, same response you see on above, same you see here. So you will always have a request, you see request response, request response, request response. There is no session which is created in the server. Now is this a SAP server? Maybe not. It may be a server given by Microsoft based on .NET technology or Python technology, we don't care. So as a consumer means as a mobile application developer or a Fury developer, you don't care what is your backend. Your backend could be ABAP, it could be Java, it could be Node.js, it could be Python, it could be C sharp, C++, Perl, Ruby, doesn't matter. For you, this is a contract. You, as long as your mobile application, your web application abide to this contract, it's more than sufficient. Often people come and tell me, Anubhav, my company is going to BTP cloud. I have already a Fury app built. We are using an OData from ECC. Now they are telling me to change this Fury app with Fury on cloud on BTP. What do I do, Anubhav? Do I need to rewrite my Fury app? Why? Why you need to rewrite your Fury app? You don't need to, because you are just changing your backend server. And if your new backend server serves the same OData contract, you don't have to rewrite your Fury app. It will work beautifully because Fury only and only talk to OData. It doesn't know whether that OData is coming from a function module, whether it is coming from a wrap service, whether it is coming from a cap service, whether it is coming from a CDS view. It doesn't give a damn. It is just following OData service. As long as your OData service built using ABAP matches with the OData service built using Java, matches with the OData service built using Node.js, you don't have to rewrite your Fury app. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's see this service. How do we get started? Getting started with basics. How a service look like? So the very first thing, the moment you start with any service, you will first come across a service document. What is a service document? A service document describe the list of all the entity sets. Now what is the entity set? An entity set is a collection of endpoints. It's a collection of endpoints to perform, create, read, update, and delete operations. In short, CRUD. Some people call it as CURD also. CURD or CRUD. It's up to you what you want to call. Create, update, delete, read, or CRUD. CRUD operation or crude operation, up to you how you say that. So basically an entity set is your endpoint to perform these operations on your data set, on your data model. Suppose you want to create new sales order, yes, edit sales order, yes, create new product, create new partner, all that is done using entity set. So a service document describe the list of all the entity sets actually, all the entity sets. That's what service document does. These are endpoints, these are absolute endpoints of your service. That's what the service document actually do. Yes. Now if I go back and show you the service which I was referring to, the Northwind service, you see this is your service document. You see every database table is coming as an entity set. These are your entity sets: customers, employees, orders. So if you want order data, you go to this entity set. If you want customer data, you go to this entity set. That's called entity set. Now suppose I develop a OData service in my company and I left. Now when somebody else come at my place, how will they know what my entity set has to offer? Is this customer entity set offer customer location, customer address, customer city, customer pin code? Does it offer that or not? How do I know? Or I am a OData developer, I give my OData to a web development team, my Fiori development team, ask them to use it. How the Fiori developer will know that this customer is giving them address data, this customer detail giving them phone number of the customer or not, because they need it in their Fiori application. So to see that, they can refer metadata of the OData document. So this is the service document, you can check that first. Now next comes is, so you saw it's a list of entity sets to perform CRUD operations. Now coming back to service metadata document. Service metadata document is basically a document which describes all the subcomponents of our service. It will specify, it will show the skeleton of our service and entities. Now, what is entity and what is entity set? An entity is the structure of our data. Like in ABAP, we create a data dictionary structure that is like an entity. And then in program, we create internal table using that structure, right? So that is your internal table is your entity set. Yes. So that is the difference between entity and entity set. Entity will just describe what's the skeleton of my data. Now in OData, if you want to access that, we use different predicates if- to access different OData operations. These predicates starts with dollar symbol. Yeah. So let me show you. I will come back and I will use my first predicate coming on your screen, dollar metadata. Yes, yeah, in all in small letter, metadata. Enter. So you see, it is now showing me all the entity. So somebody was asking in the customer whether we have address data or not. Yes, we have city, address, region, postal code, country, phone number, fax. That information we have it for the customer. Beautiful. So which means I can use this for the purpose of my training. I can do that. Fabulous. Fabulous. Then you can also see we have here the relationship. So you see navigation property. How many order this customer posted to me? that also I can get it. This is due to the relationship, the foreign key I was telling you about, right? So that is what it also describe. It also tell you what is the key property of this entity. The key is customer ID, you see, key, it is telling you that. So it will describe all the required properties, like what is the customer name of type, it's of type string, is it nullable, no, yes. What is the maximum length of customer number, 40. What is the fixed length, is it a fixed length, no. Is it a unicode, yes. So you can see all the technical internal information about your entity and its corresponding properties. All of that is described by this metadata. Dollar metadata is a predicate, is a predicate, it's a standard predicate. Now whether it is a SAP OData service or a non SAP OData service, these predicate remains the same because they are part of the protocol. So in today's class what we are learning, we are actually learning protocol actually. Yeah, so that's the part of the protocol, it will never change. So that's the second call. Yes, that's a second call. All these operations you can test it yourself in your laptop. You don't need a SAP system also to practice this. Now next part comes is what is the structure of the OData URL. Often when we come back to any OData URL in our company, how does the URL look like? So I can take up this URL to give as an reference example only. Yeah, so we will put this URL, or let me just put my own way. HTTP or HTTPS, that's a protocol. Then you will have the host name colon the port number. Then you will have something called a service prefix. Usually for SAP specific OData, how do you know whether this OData coming from a SAP server or non SAP server? All the OData services from SAP server have SAP OData, SAP OPU OData. Often this is how every OData service in SAP server will be prefixed. Yes. Then you have the service name underscore SRV or underscore CDS. Usually this is how the service name will look like. Then you will have first URL parameter starting with question mark. Then you can have some predicate equal to the predicate value. Then you have all the consecutive parameters start with m%. So all the future parameters which you will add, you will start with m%, m%, m%. So then you will have again predicate, dollar predicate. Yeah, all the predicate starts with dollar symbol as you all know. Yes, I just explained, equal to the another value, and so on like this. So in this entire service, what are the components do you see? Yeah, let's talk about those components individually. So I'm going to come back, I'll just all the components here like this. Okay, perfect. So here the first component is your protocol, HTTP or HTTPS. HTTP means hypertext transmission protocol, or S means secure. Yeah, this is your protocol because it's a web service. Yeah, before being an OData service, it's a web service. So that is the internet based protocol, HTTP protocol. Then comes is the address of your server and port number. Anubhav, in my company SAP server, where can I find this detail? So in SAP server, there's a transaction called SMICM. If you are dealing with SAP system regarding OData, as we all are SAP developers, we are here to learn OData for SAP specific stuff, right? Because SAP adopted this protocol. You can check in this T code. Let me show you. I go back to my company server. I log into my company SAP server. I connect my company SAP server. enter. And now what I will do, I will come to SMICM T code, and then we have this button called services. I click on that, and then I can see HTTP protocol port number 8021, HTTPS protocol 44321. Yes, that is how you can see the host name and port number. Beautiful, beautiful. So that is the host and port. Now after that we have this path prefix. We have this path prefix. Yes, that is the next part of the story. After the path prefix, we have the actually the service name. We have actually the service name SRV. Service name SRV. Service name SRV represents the actual service name which you are trying to call. Yes, like Northwind service you see here. Yeah. So that is this service name. It usually ends with underscore SRV for SAP services, I'm telling, or underscore CDS, because sometimes we can build services on top of CDS view. Now, CDS view is not part of current training. You can join my ABAP on HANA training to learn CDS views. Okay. Next, once that part is complete, we all start with URL parameters. So these are the URL parameters which starts with question mark symbol. First parameter always start with question mark, and next consecutive parameters starts with ampersand. Yes. So all the URL parameter, this is how they will be. First one start with question mark, next one starts with ampersand accordingly. And all of these are then consecutive predicates with dollar symbol. That is our actual setup what we have over here. Fabulous. That's my complete setup. This is how a URL would look like. So for an SAP service, this is the path prefix you will detect your SAP service. You see here you don't have a path prefix SAP OPU OData. So it's not a, it's a non-SAP service, but that doesn't matter. You can even build a Fiori app on this OData as well because Fiori understand OData. Yes. Now you later on when I work with standard OData service, which we will build in SAP server, that time I will come back and compare this also. But in general, this is how the rule would be for the URL formation of an OData. Fabulous. Let's begin now some real stuff. So let's see how to perform the OData calls with different predicates we will study. So my first one coming on the screen, access the customer data. Now at the same time as a developer, since we all are developers, yes, we are engineers, I would also tell you what would be probably happening in the backend system when it is interacting with the database. So the first one call is like select star from the database table. So that is what it is doing in the background. So let me access customer data. I'm going to go back and I have a customer data over here. So I will go back to service document, and in the service document I have the customer's entity set. This is the entity set name. I copy that. I go on the top, press enter. It gives me the customer's data, but that's XML format. I don't like it. So I need in JSON format. So question mark dollar format equal to JSON. Wahala, look at that. How beautiful that looks. That's your customer data coming from a real system in the JSON format. The, what is it doing behind the scene equivalently? It is actually doing a select star on the customer database table, perhaps using .NET or some technology. We don't care as a developer. Now, you need to also install JSON view plugin in your browser to be able to utilize this plugin. You need to install, yeah, the JSON view plugin. Please do install the JSON view plugin actually in the browser to be able to design and do the stuff in the system. That's quite critical, quite important. You all have to do that. So that's the JSON view plugin, so that you can see beautiful output like mine. So that was the first predicate dollar format you just studied. Now, next one, I will show you accessing the data with pagination. So currently it is giving me all the customer data. Now that's very dangerous. Imagine in your database table, you have gotcha around, you know, a million record or 2 million records. So what would happen? So you have a mobile application which is talking to your server, and that's talking to your database. And in the customer database table you have 10 million customers. If you send a request and try to load all 10 million customer in one shot, your mobile application will constantly keep on loading, and then it will crash. Yeah, it will crash actually. That's what will happen. Yeah, your mobile application will permanently crash actually. That's a that's a big issue. That's a big issue. So what do we do in this situation? We need a mechanism to load data. Yes, the way YouTube does. So what YouTube does in YouTube, when you play a YouTube video which is of 2 hours, YouTube doesn't wait for 2 hours for it to load. YouTube start buffering. It will first give you 2-minute video, then it will give next 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 2-minute video. Like this, YouTube will load the data chunk by chunk, and user can see the playback happening. By the time user reaches to the last point, it will load everything. This is called buffering in YouTube. Now here, in our case, we also can do that using dollar top and dollar skip. These are predicates. So I will first go in my first call. I say dollar top equal to 10. Give me top 10 records. It will give me that. Very good. The next call which I make, I say top equal to 10, but skip equal to 10 also. Please skip the first 10 record and load the next top 10 records. That is what I'm telling the computer now. Amazing. Amazing. So this is how my top and skip will work. Loading data chunk by chunk. Loading data chunk by chunk. That's what actually it will do. Perfect. So now we come back. So let's see how do we do the loading of data chunk by chunk. Access customer data chunk by chunk. It's called pagination concept. Wow. It's equivalent of select star in ABAP. If you say up to n rows. Yeah. Those who come from ABAP world, I'm writing the query also for you. But those who don't know, ignore, ignore the query part. If you're not technical, if you're not an ABAP developer, ignore it. Ignore it. You don't need to. Okay. So let's do that. I'm going to go back, and I will first hit dollar top equal to 10, or dollar top equal to 2. Give me only two top two records. So now it gives you number one, Alfred's, and enter top two records. Yeah. Now if I say ampersand dollar skip equal to 2, it will skip the Alfred and enter, and it give me Anton and Arot. Wow. So this is how we can do load data chunk by chunk using OData service. Fabulous. Now, how can I get the record count, total record count? So, how to get a total record count from database? So, you don't have to load everything, loop and count it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Be an engineer. So, there is already a predicate for that as well. For everything, there is a predicate. You will go back and say slash dollar count. So it gives you the total number of records in the database. That is your dollar count. Fabulous. All these calls I will be putting in the description of this YouTube video. So you can go back and test these calls immediately. Yes, that's the basics of OData. So we just studied the top, the predicate top, the predicate skip, the predicate dollar format. the predicate dollar count. That's all we studied actually. Fabulous, fabulous. Now after this we will go back and do the next step. So we have got top and skip. We move on to the next part where we are going to now see how to read a single customer data. So I'll pick up the customer ID. That's the key. We saw it in the metadata. That was the key. So I pick the key. I go back on the top, remove the predicates, and simply after customer put parenthesis and put the key in the parenthesis. If you have a composite primary key, then you can put comma, your second key value, third key value, fourth key value, like that. You can do that. If you have composite primary key, press enter, and voila, you can see you gotcha the data of a single customer now. Amazing, beautiful. So get single customer data in the output. Yeah, this is equal to select single star from database table where my primary key value is some value. That is how we can dealt with the single customer data. So we pass the key. So you have to check the metadata to find the key, and then you pass the key in for that record. Beautiful. This is, yeah, this one is equal to select count star from your database table. Amazing. So that is how you can get the value. Nice, nice and curious. Yeah, flocky guys. All right. So this is how you dealt with extracting your backend data from system. Next comes is the filtering of data. How to search or look up the data or filter data from database. So it's equivalent to select star from database table where, and a condition. Now condition could be equal to, not equal to. You can use between operator, for operator, like operator. You all know select queries as a software developer. Yes, you all know that. So let me show you two calls. The first call is get me all the customers which belongs to Germany. Yes, country is Germany, DE. Yeah, so I'm going to go back, remove this key, don't need. Yeah, I put ampersand, my second predicate dollar filter. Country is EQ equals to DE Germany in single quote. Very important. Very important. Now you see this single quote and the space. Space. You see the space. These are special characters. You understand, I understand, but browser don't understand them. So what browser is going to do? Browser will convert that space and that single quote into a escape character. Yeah, don't worry, I'll show you. Enter. You see space got converted to percentage 20 and single quote got converted to percentage 27. So there's no customer from Germany. Let me try India. Let me try UK. Country is equal to UK. Wahala. So we got some customers from UK. Awesome. So this is how you can go back and test getting getting records based on a filter criteria. Now, Anubhav, I want to do a pattern search. Any customer which has company name containing the or company name containing beverages. Can I get that? Yes. So dollar filter where I will say substring of my beverages in company name field. So please check in company name field if something contains beverages, and if this expression is found truthy for those records I want. Press enter key. Wahala, there's only one customer which has the company name contains beverages. Yeah, beverages. Or I will say BE, company name contains BE somewhere. Yeah, so now I got, yeah, this BE, you see. Now you see this BE, now you see. Yeah, and then it's also have somewhere BE. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. You see BE. Yeah, so you see BE. So all the company names where the name contain BE, I'm able to extract out that by a by a condition. So all conditions are passed via dollar filter, dollar filter. That's the OData predicate. So later on, when you deal with SAP OData services, all these predicates you're going to use it as it is actually. Yeah, there won't be anything which you can't use. All these predicate applies there as well. Perfect. Okay. Now, Anubhav, where did you learn these predicates from? Are there more predicates? Yes. So you can always go and learn them from odata.org. I personally learn all these predicate from odata.org also. Absolutely. Now, next one, I want to go back to single customer data. Let me just go back to that. Yeah. So I have a single customer data now. My manager asked me, show me a customer orders. Show me a customer orders. So now I need to basically go and see, is there any relationship between customer and order table? Yeah, between customer and order table, is there any relationship which does exist? I need to check that. So I can come back and first look at the metadata of the service. So dollar metadata, and then I will come straight ahead down till the bottom, and I will look at these something called associations. Look at that. Yeah, associations are like your foreign keys. So let me just try to explain that. So whenever you design database tables in your company, you will typically have data distributed in normalized form. You will have a multiple tables. Let's say there is a customer table storing customer master data, and there is a orders database table storing sales order data. But your software work in conjunction, in combination of everything. So you will have a relationship between customer and orders. That's our relationship between database table. So one customer can have multiple orders or one to many relationship. That is typically what you will see in any company. Yes. Now this relationship is achieved using foreign key. Now, when you talk about OData service, this whole thing transform into OData service. This customer entity will become a entity set. Yeah. And this order will become also entity set. Yes. And then this relationship, what you see, this turn out to be association. This foreign key turn into an association. So if you go back, you see these associations. Look at that. So Anubhav, do we have a customer and order association? Let's explore. So here it is. You see foreign key, order and customer. You can see this in metadata. So customer and order have a relationship. Wow, it is there. Foreign key is there. So what you do at runtime in programming, you will use this relationship foreign key, and you will write an inner join to fetch the data. Correct? You will write an inner join at runtime to fetch the data. Similarly, in case of OData, we have something called navigation property to fetch the dependent data. Yeah, like you do join, here we do navigation property to fetch our data. So let me show you how to do that to fetch our data from a join. So to do the honor, we are going to go back and we will see here in the metadata of the customer, is there any navigation property for customer towards the order, because I found a relationship is there, but is it able to fetch the data also or not? So I go back to the customer entity definition. Yeah, and I see, oh wow, I have navigation property to orders. Wow, which means if my manager asks me to fetch orders of a customer, I can simply take this guy, this navigation property, I can go back and I say slash that navigation property name, Wahala. Nice. To load all the orders of that customer. So these are the orders of a route. Oh, nice, Anubhav. Nice. These are my orders of a route. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Yeah. So we are able to extract the orders. Let me just make it little smaller. Yes. So get the data of associated entity. I do get that. Yes, I do get that. So now I've got you the data of associated entity. Now there's another catch. My manager say, Anubhav, I told you to get customer data and order data together. That's what I asked you, Anubhav. But Anubhav, you're just getting me order data. I need customer also together in a single call. I can't make two calls. So in that case, you take this guy, cut it, and you put M% dollar expand. That's another predicate which is now going to do expansion. It's going to get your data for this guy plus data for this guy. Press enter key and Wahala. You see orders and customer together, together, yeah, together. Beautiful, beautiful. So now got dollar expand is used to extract the data of the base entity and the associated entity using navigation property together in a one single shot. In a one single shot, you're able to extract that data together, together. Beautiful, beautiful. I hope everybody understood the process of working with OData in services and utilizing these predicates to dealt with them to fetch your data. Then apart, these are all get calls actually. We can also perform post calls to insert the data, but you cannot do that from the browser. So what we do, we use a tool called Postman tool. The Postman tool help you to simulate the post operation and update operation also. So what I will do now, I will show you one simple post call, and for that, do the honor, I install the Postman tool. So I go to Google Postman tool, download and install. Here it is. So I will go there, I will download and install this Postman tool. So before the class, I have already done it for all of you. Before the class, I have already done it for all of you. So what I will do, I will be launching the Postman tool now in my laptop, in my computer. So it's a free tool. Yes, it's free, no charges. So it's a free tool anybody can install in their computer, and it can be used to test your APIs. APIs means your OData services or any other different type of services you can use it to test. So that is the benefit we get when it comes to the Postman tool. So now I can go back and I can use the Postman tool, and here I can perform the calls. So here I am in a Postman tool, and what I can do, I can just come with a call actually. So let me just click on new button, create a new call, and here I will just make a get call. Just now what we were doing, you will see it's going to get me all the data now. You see it's working from Postman also. The best part, you can test OData services from SAP because they will need user ID password to test. You can also pass user ID password here in the Postman tool. If the service needs that, you can always do that. It has a lot of features, so I recommend you to please download and keep it handy all the time. As a developer, this is a must have tool in your laptop. Either you can install from software download center of your company, or you can download it if it's your personal laptop directly from the website. So coming back now, we are going to go back and see the post call, insert call, inserting the data. So to do the honor, we're going to come back, and I go back to services.odata.org, and then we have browse a full read write access service to this time insert the data. So let me access the product data from this service in the Postman. I just say products. I will get all the data. Yes, I will get the data in the JSON format. And now I've got these products. Beautiful. So what I want to do, I want to create a new product. So currently there are 10 products. What I will do, I'll open one more call, and this time it will be a post call I'm making, and I will do that call on my products entity set. Fantastic. So I want to now insert data, create new product. So there are 10 products, 0 to 10. You see, 10 are there. So now I want to create a new product in the database. So to do the honor, I have to pass body. It's a raw JSON body. I'm passing my own data to insert data now. So I will come back and copy this existing record, how it look like, and I will pass that record here. And this part is not necessary. I will just pass ID as 11, and let's call it as green tea, and description good for metabolism and weight loss, and put, let's say, date 25 February 2025, and discontinued date don't have, rating is 5, price is 30.99. I send this request. It's a post call to insert data. I click on send button now to insert this data to the database. So I send it to OData service, and it says error. Yes, must specify type take part of in inheritance. So something it is giving me. I believe this could be due to ID. The ID will be auto generated. Let's try without ID. Let's see. No, it's not working. So something is wrong. Let me just try to only pass the ID in the description. Let's see if that helps. Maybe these dates now, these dates it will take automatically. Maybe. Yeah, I'm just trying to tweak. No, it's not working. Okay, so since it's not working, what I will do, I have to refer to the documentation again. So let me go back to documentation of odata.org, post sample to show me a post of data. Yes, so show me a tutorial to post data to my service. So I go back to odata.org tutorials, and there are a lot of tutorials. Let me see if there's a tutorial to post data. Yes, here it is. So they are posting now this data. You see, something like related to another service is there for username. Yeah, this is a username service where they are posting this data. People entity set. They're showing an example. They are also showing example to editing data. This is OData v4. I just go back to this call here. Yeah, this is a people service actually. Okay, no worries. We can use that one. Doesn't matter. It's just a different version. So let me access this get call to show you service, people service. So it's a trip OData service, like a trip which you want to take. So this is the first part where you have the passenger data for a trip. You see, these are the username, first name, last name, middle name, gender, age, email. Yeah, all this information is there for a people. Now, how many people are there? Let me count. The total number of people in the system are 20. So now I'm going to post a people. So I'll go back here. I will make a post call. So come down. Here is the call to people. Let's do the call to people now. It's a post call, and let's pass this body. Fabulous. So I will be posting a new people, and let's pass the username, uh, Anubhav O, and post Anubhav. My name I'm passing Oberoi, and I will pass my email ID which I want to post. Perfect. Let it rest of the things be same. Now let's trigger this post call. Trigger. Voila, done. So which means if I go back now to the get call, count was 20. If I run again, it's still 20. I don't know why it is not posting the data. Something is wrong. JSON people create an entity. I gotcha. Maybe there is some issue here down. Name. This is address info. Not sure why it's not posting. It should ideally create the data in the database. Yeah, it should create the data in the database. Content type is this. It's not working actually. It's giving me response 200. Okay, 200 means it's all done, but it's not doing it. It's not getting me. It's still doing a get call, though I'm making a post call, you see. It's still doing a get call actually. So let me just see, the operation type is post only. We are doing a post. So when we go to SAP unit, I will show you all this post, get, delete through the Postman tool. But the idea here is that using the Postman tool, you can do post, patch, update, delete, all these calls. From the browser, you can only do the get calls. So we will certainly be learning all of this as part of our training, how to do the get, put, post, delete on a SAP service, on a SAP service properly. Yeah, this was just for demonstration that using Postman tool, what can you do? What can you do? Yeah, that is what I wanted to demonstrate. Okay, of course, that service is not built by us, so we can't debug. We don't know what is it doing. So I can just try, but if it doesn't work, I can't do anything. Yes, because we have to build our own service in SAP and test them. So that comes to the end of the introduction to basics of OData. In the coming episodes, we will be learning how to create our OData service in a SAP system from scratch. But before you do that, you need to be very well aware of OData basics. You can try out these calls. With that, thank you once again for your time today, and I will see you in the next episode. Till then, happy coding and goodbye.